Good morning. Speed welcomes you to the mile-and-a-half Charlotte Motor Speedway. All-Star Weekend, Hall of Fame weekend continues. This morning we kick things off with the Camping World Truck Series teams practicing. 2 practices here for you. And then they will race later this evening. All-Star combatants also on track for the showdown and the All-Star race. And, of course, the Hall of Fame here on Sunday from Charlotte, North Carolina. Good morning. I'm Steve Burns. Let's quickly look at the schedule. As we said, Camping World Truck Series practice is next. You'll see the All-Stars after that. NASCAR Live at 3. Truck Series qualifying at 3:30. All-Star qualifying, the truck race, and trackside. Right now, let's go topside to Rick Allen and Phil Parsons.
Thank you, Steve, and welcome to the NASCAR Day edition of Camping World Truck Series, and welcome to our North Carolina Education Lottery 200 practice from the Charlotte Motor Speedway on Speed. 70 degrees, overcast skies, very light breeze, a beautiful morning for practice for the Camping World Truck Series as they're about to take on 3.5 hours of track time. Hello, everyone. Alongside of Michael Waltrip and Phil Parsons, I'm Rick Allen. Now, we've got a lot of practice that's going to take place this morning. Every time the trucks are on the track, we'll be here to bring that action to you. Phil, what are we going to see this morning in practice?
Well, I think right now the guys have a limit of 4 sets of tires for this entire practice session. We have about 2 hours and 30 minutes of practice prior to qualifying, and they only have 4 sets of tires for the whole weekend. That includes qualifying and the race. So I think they're going to have to be judicious in their use of their tires. So I don't think these guys will be on the racetrack as much as they would like to be because of the limited number of practice, limited number of practice time. But you know, in contrast, next week when we come here for the Coca-Cola 600, the Sprint Cup cars will have 3 hours and 15 minutes of practice prior to race time, and they will get 6 sets of tires just for the practice now. Then they get 10 more sets for the race. So that's how, but that's one of the ways NASCAR, Michael, tries to save money for the teams is forcing them to use a limited amount of tires.
But, Rick, if I'm one of these teams right now, I want to be on the track as soon as it opens at 9 o'clock because right now the conditions are so much like they're going to be tonight when they race. The track's cool, so their tires and their trucks are going to handle a whole lot like they will tonight in the race. Now, the only negative to that is there's not a lot of rubber on the track yet, but traditionally this track doesn't change a great deal like we saw Dover last week going from a white concrete to a dark black with all the rubber on it. This track won't change as much as the rubber goes down, but when it really changes is when that temperature goes up. You start losing a lot of grip, and tonight we're going to have a lot of speed and a lot of sparks flying when these guys go racing in the dark.
Yeah, the green flag's going to drop just after 8 o'clock this evening. But we've got all sorts of things going on this morning for practice and qualifying this afternoon. The guys who are telling us the story from pit road, Adam Alexander and Ray Dunlap. Ray, what have you got?
Well, Rick, I want to look back a week ago to Dover. You know, no driver has ever won all 3 races in one weekend at a racetrack in NASCAR's top 3 divisions. But Kyle Busch came this close last week. All but about 3.5 gallons of gas were left into his tank, and Eric Phillips on top of the truck. Very, very sick this week, thinking that they let one get away last week. Kyle obviously had the dominant truck. They've got a brand new chassis this weekend, and they've done a lot of work on their fuel system. Don't worry about this truck running out of gas again the rest of this year. Adam?
Ray, Kyle Busch having those problems opened the door for one Eric Almirola, who had never won in the Camping World Truck Series until he finished the deal last week at Dover. And he did so in a truck that he will drive here this weekend at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. He battled through adversity after going 2 laps down. He used the wave around and the free pass to get back on the lead lap and eventually take that trip to victory lane. And when he hits the track here today, he will do so as the Camping World Truck Series point leader for the first time in his career.
Thank you, Ray and Adam. We've got trucks on the racetrack.
What a huge win for Eric Almirola, though. I know how excited he was. I talked to Billy Ballou in the garage area yesterday, and he was really, really pumped up. Richie Waters, we know what he's capable of doing. He won so many races with Kyle Busch, and from the time Eric Almirola jumped in his truck last year, they always ran up front, had a couple second-place finishes, didn't quite get over the hump, but they did last week.
Yeah, we interviewed Eric Almirola on the Hub earlier this week, and he talked about how this really is what he considers his first NASCAR win, even though he's been credited with a nationwide win from a year before when he was filling in for Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin got in the car and then ended up winning the race, but Eric Almirola got credit for it. He said, I don't even know where that trophy is. This one is on my mantle.
And he came from 2 laps down to do it. I mean, that's pretty cool, getting your first NASCAR win in a truck at a tough racetrack like Dover. Oh, and by the way, I spotted him 2 laps before I decided to go get him.
Yeah. We're going to learn more about Eric and Richie Waters in the setup tonight with Chris Devoda.
Got a feature on those two and that impressive win. There you see the 51 on the racetrack. Eric Almirola, our most recent winner in the Camping World Truck Series. Another truck that's on the track was the 17 of Timothy Peters. He went into that Dover race as our point leader. Todd Bodine also on the track now in the number 30. He was second in the points, and Eric Almirola actually leapfrogged Todd Bodine and took away the point lead. You see the 18 of Kyle Busch on the racetrack now. The nice gold walls on the outside of the Charlotte Motor Speedway.
He's had a pretty decent career this year. 7 wins in 2010.
Well, he had a pretty good career last week at Dover.
Yeah,
2
very,
wins.
very close to
and almost
all
a third.
races.
800 laps of competition. He led almost 500 of them.
Yeah, dominant performance, and he was extremely good in the truck race, but as was documented earlier, a fuel issue for that truck, and we've learned that it was vapor lock. They say that there was a good 2 to 3 gallons of gas still in his tank when he came onto pit road, but it vapor locked.
Well, I went down in the garage area yesterday and talked to several of the guys that ran out of fuel. There was more than just Kyle Busch. We had other guys as well. And the problem is, in Dover is unique, a unique racetrack, probably more so than any other track we run, is the fact that the straightaways are banked 9 degrees. We know the corners are banked 24 degrees. I was talking to our series director, Wayne Otten, and he said that most of the trucks had about 3 gallons of fuel left in them. But at 9 degrees of banking, or actually at 5 degrees of banking, for the most part, all the fuel would be away from the pickup. So essentially, I know Kyle had trouble early in the race when he was full of fuel, so he did have an issue with carburetor or whatever. But most of the guys in the race, it was just a simple matter of all the fuel being away from the fuel pickup, which is in the very right rear corner of the fuel cell because of centrifugal force when you're on the racetrack. But when you're right around there at 45 miles an hour, which was the caution speed on the racetrack, all that fuel runs away from that pickup, and that's the situation that we were looking at.
Now, is there I was told there's a stopper inside there that is supposed to keep amount of fuel near the pickup and not let it flow back in that situation. Could that have been a defect in the makeup, or is that just a problem of circumstance? Well,
there is, but there's only so much it will hold, and running around the racetrack, you fill up that little box or however the pickup is designed, you fill it up. But when you have no chance to get it back over to there, you can't refill it. In other words, you're riding around there, you got 9-degree banking on the straightaways, 24-degree banking in the corner, and you're not putting that fuel back in that little box, and for little flappers and check valves that hold that fuel in there.
Flappers and check valves.
We've got all sorts of technical things that we're going to be talking about today. 20 trucks on the racetrack already for our first practice for the Camping World Truck Series. It is a big day on speed. All trucks, really. They're on the track from 9 o'clock this morning until after 8 o'clock this evening, when things get really exciting at the drop of the green flag. We've got NASCAR live in there and Sprint Cup qualifying at 5 o'clock, so you won't want to miss any of the action that takes place here on speed today. Hermie Sadler's out on the racetrack as well. We've got numerous drivers making their first laps here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Speed's presentation of NASCAR Camping World Truck Series practice from Charlotte is brought to you by Camping World. Visit Camping World RV Sales for the largest selection and best values on toy haulers. And by New Finish Cling Instant Detailer, the shine that sticks. First practice continuing for the Camping World Truck Series from Charlotte Motor Speedway. 21 trucks on the racetrack. Fastest up to this point now is Elliott Sadler, and that's Kevin Harvick Incorporated number 2 Chevy Silverado.
Looks like that's Hermie Sadler right there. That TNT Chevrolet. That's a neat paint scheme. Did you see that truck?
I did. Beautiful.
Yeah, it really is. Look at that thing.
Looks like a tattoo on the front of that, on the hood of that truck. We've got some smoke on the racetrack, and a hard hit by the 85.
Brent Raymer.
Raymer gets into the wall hard on the right side, and so that brings out our first caution of practice.
That's a right front tire failure, you would think, Phil.
Yeah.
It looks like a lot of damage to that right front corner, and and you can see that the tire is definitely flat, and the way the concrete is caved in and into that left front, or excuse me, that right front wheel. You know, a lot of times, soon as practice goes out, these guys have, cars and trucks alike, have a tendency to rub something in the front end suspension on that right front tire. We saw the same thing happen last week at Dover to Elliott Sadler in the Cup Series.
Yep, absolutely.
So this is
first time on the racetrack.
Right.
Brent's only showing 3 laps so far. Look at the right side of your screen. There's the tire's going to go down right there. You know, that looks like pretty innocent contact with the outside wall, but look at the damage to that truck.
Yeah,
I mean, that's a backup. He's going to have to go to a backup.
Without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt.
we saw Brent hit really hard before. He had a crash down at Daytona that was scary, man. He was fortunate in that case, as we all are. He ran into the safer barrier. That barrier gives and spreads out the energy of the contact over a longer period of time, making it possible for that young man to get out and be mad about his truck and not hurt over it.
Yeah, I was going to say, he looks more disappointed than hurt right now, but he'll have to go to the infield care center, get checked out, and see if they can get him back in a backup truck. Ray.
Hey, Rick, a lot of guys with brand new trucks this weekend. When you come out to Charlotte, you want to put on the best show possible. The 7 truck, Justin Lofton, a brand new chassis today, but they're going in a very different direction than their teammate and the 17 of Timothy Peters. This new truck that Mark Rapp built has a lot of front downforce built into it. The 17 likes rear downforce, but Justin Lofton said he feels like he's been better in the ARCA cars than he's been in the truck, and a lot of it's because he felt he didn't have enough control on the front. So they've actually put 6 to 7% more downforce in the body and a lot less drag on this brand new truck for the number 7. Adam?
And Ray, a brand new truck as well for Ron Hornaday Jr. as he backs his way out of the Camping World Truck Series garage. He came in because there was a little bit of a splitter rub, but the other issue they were having, despite a brand new race truck, same old result. That left rear tire rubbing much like it was a couple of weeks ago at Kansas. And here you see that's Ernie Cope working on the fender. He's the crew chief for Kevin Harvick's Nationwide Series team. Doug George right behind him there, you see in this picture, also the crew chief for the Truck Series operation at Kevin Harvick Incorporated. They said this brand new truck didn't have any of these issues when they tested it out in the wind tunnel, but unfortunately you put so much load on the back end of the truck here at Charlotte, they're having those issues again. It could be a long day for Hornaday because that fender has already had some damage.
Early work on that 33 truck. I heard Ray make a point about trying to put on your best performance, put on your best face when you come to a place like Charlotte. Is that because we've got not only the owners and the other teams that are here, but you've got general managers of teams, you've got pretty much everybody that can come out and see what these guys are doing, not only at practice qualifying, but in the race as well.
But it's also at home too, and you want to play well on your home court. So that's another big reason is most of these teams are based right around here in Charlotte. So I mean, there's just so many reasons for that. I mean, you really want to put your best foot forward every single week. And we're in a situation now where we've been a little sporadic getting started here, but now we're going to start running some races, so they have some new equipment. They're going to get it started.
Under our first caution for practice, we'll be right back. Tomorrow, the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race hits Charlotte, and only one pre-race show gets you revved up to race for $1 million. Jimmy Johnson, Denny Hamlin, Kurt Busch, and Tony Stewart join us for the biggest show of the year. It's a special 3-hour edition of NASCAR Race Day built by the Home Depot, live from Charlotte. That's tomorrow at 4 Eastern.
$1 million.
$1 million to win that race. It's been tagged with a bunch of different catchphrases now. Cash or crash.
There's a guy sitting on my right that won that thing. Of course, it didn't pay $1 million then, but it was still a pretty good chunk of money, wasn't it?
I kind of caught a tough break when I won that night. It paid $225 grand. I was excited in victory lane. I proclaimed I was going to build my mom and dad a house so they could move down from Kentucky to North Carolina. I got half that $225, $125. The house cost about $210 to buy, so it's about a $80,000 hit for me to win that race that night. But I tell you, Rick, I still have that All-Star trophy, and I know exactly where it's at.
Well, you should have waited to win it till it paid $1 million.
Yeah.
You probably tried to do that too, though.
I was in it a couple of times when it paid that, but one of those other smart alecks beat me.
Matt Crafton, Mike Skinner on the racetrack.
This is good times, like I said, Phil. These guys are really understanding what they'll have tonight. As that sun begins to shine more and more brightly down on this track, the grip will go away. This track changes quite a lot.
I was talking to Joe Shear Jr., Johnny Sauter's crew chief, and he said that this is the same right side tire these guys had last year, but it's a little different left side tires. So he said there was a little bit of not really uneasiness, but a little bit of unsureness about what the left side tire was gonna do for these things.
Got some interesting running here out of two veterans on the racetrack. Ray, what's going on with that young rookie on the track?
Well, Austin Dillon just came to the garage. He's getting ready to go back to the racetrack. They made a camber adjustment on the right front. He was very, very tight going into turn number 3. Now you'll notice on the side of that truck it says Wild Turkey. That's not the liquor, it's the Wild Turkey Federation, part of Bass Pro Shops. Of course, Austin Dillon, only 20 years old. Right now, a little bit tight in the corners for the 3 truck.
More trucks about to roll out onto the racetrack. There's Richard Childress talking a little bit with Hermie Sadler.
RC is really proud of what Austin's done this year. He's really been running extremely well. Had another strong run going last week at Dover, probably a top 5, and ended up expiring an engine due to the fact that his truck had jumped out of gear early in the race, and the guys attributed that to causing that damage to that engine when he lost it on one of the last restarts.
Adam Alexander.
Todd Bodine currently top 5 in this practice session. You quitting early or what?
No, we're trying some stuff with the motor. The truck, that's the best it's driven all year. Junior and Tom Ackerman worked really hard, and Senior even was working this week trying to figure out why the truck has been driving so bad. And I think they figured it out, because that was incredible. Pretty much running wide open all the way around right there. And, you know, as soon as the track heats up, it'll slick up and you'll have to lift some. But right now we're really good, handling good, so we're going to try something with the motor.
So good on the 1.5 miles, but no wins here at Charlotte. What have you been missing?
Well, a little luck. We've had some good runs. Last year I was passing for the lead and got sucked around by the air. And you know, Charlotte's one of those tracks that's pretty fickle. You're either really good or you're struggling. And you know, we've been good, but we've struggled too. And you know, you got to put it all together. You know, you got to have everything every race. The competition level is so tough in the truck series. So I think we've got a truck that can do it today.
Todd Bodine, top 5 in every race in 2010 with the exception of 1.
Todd Bodine's best finish at Charlotte Motor Speedway. 3rd, he's done it twice, most recently in 2007. We've got 4 drivers in the field that have won at this racetrack.
And would you believe that a Toyota nor a Ford has ever won a truck race here at Charlotte?
I read that, and it's hard to believe.
It really is. Chevrolet has won the last 6. Dodge won the first one with Ted Musgrave, but Chevrolet has won the last 6.
And right now we got a Chevrolet sitting on top of the scoring pylon. He's fastest in practice, and it's Ron Hornaday Jr. Ran down in the 29-second bracket. Feel these guys are getting with it.
Yeah, they are.
Action is picking up on the racetrack. We've got 33 trucks that have been out to find out how their trucks handled today. And welcome back to Charlotte Motor Speedway. It is NASCAR Day, May 21st, 2010. 3 options that you can give to NASCAR Day. You can call 1-877-515-GIVE, or you can go online to NASCAR.com, NASCAR Day, or you can text NASCAR Day to 90999. That is a donation of $10.
I have my pen on.
I have my pen, as does Mikey. We're pinned.
We're pinned.
And I'm going to tell you, just
Russell doesn't have a pen on. I don't know why.
to show you how tech savvy I am, I just text NASCAR Day to 90999. Made a $10 donation right there on my Sprint phone.
You are tech savvy, by the way.
I'm on it.
Well, the NASCAR Foundation does just an absolutely amazing job of helping out numerous foundations and organizations that are in need of help all around the country.
Yeah, there's so many worthy causes out there, and NASCAR Day, or the NASCAR Foundation is involved with so many of them, as well as right here in Charlotte, the Speedway Children's Charities that they've done so much for here right in the Charlotte area with Charlotte Motor Speedway, certainly.
What a great week for NASCAR. I mean, the grand opening of the Hall of Fame, the gala we had last night at the Hall of Fame, where the 5 inaugural members of the the first class that's going into the Hall of Fame. We sat around and celebrated their careers and their lives. NASCAR Day today, the Sprint All-Star Challenge Pit Crew competition this week. Qualifying tonight, the All-Star race tomorrow night, man. It's just...
And then cap it all off with the actual induction ceremony on speed at
on
noon.
Sunday.
Yeah, at noon. And that's going to be a phenomenal, just a great ceremony that you're going to want to tune in and watch.
And then we're going to come back next week.
Yeah.
and have a couple of races.
Again.
Yeah.
And go again. Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, talking about Randy Moss Motorsports, both of these trucks, the 5 and the 81, with a couple of good races back-to-back, a pair of top 10s for each of these teams. David Starr saying that he's dragging the splitter just a little bit on the number 81, so they went to work on the front end. But, Phil, you made a point earlier about the fact that these guys have limited number of tires. What I'm seeing down here in the garage is everybody's putting on a set of tires and running 2 to 4 laps to scuff them in and then changing their tires out. I think everybody wants to have scuff tires for the race tonight.
Yeah, Ray, that's a good point. The guys did the same thing last week at Dover. Wanted to make sure that, the tires become a little tougher when you scuff them and they get hot and they cool back off. They get a little bit tougher than when they're new. So I think that's what most of these drivers and teams are looking for.
The cycles
The
that
cycles,
they put on
exactly.
a tire.
Really wobbly around.
It's Jay White in the gunbroker.com, number 23.
Jason's 12th quickest so far.
Now a little smoke on the left front of the 6, so that's a problem for J.C. Stout.
Right front, tight.
So right front tight.
Yeah, he definitely has a tire rub somewhere.
But could have that oil leak too. It's running out of that left front fender there. It's a lot of times you'll see the smoke come out that left front tire area when you have a motor issue. But he definitely didn't like the way it was handling, and it was
Coming all the way
smoking.
down.
So J.C. Stout will bring his number 6 Dodge back onto pit road and into the garage. There's Elliott Sadler in the number 2, driving that truck for Kevin Harvick Incorporated. Right behind him, Kyle Busch in the 18. Kyle running a completely different line than Elliott Sadler on this track.
I watched him in practice at Dover in his nationwide car, and he did that a lot as well. I saw everybody diving down to the bottom of the racetrack, the preferred groove at Dover. Kyle would go in and run through the middle of the track just like he is, a lot like he is right there. And I wondered what his plan was on that. And I think, Rick, what you need to do is make sure you know where your truck's going to work everywhere on this racetrack, because in order to win this race tonight, you're going to have to go low, you're going to have to go high, and Kyle's making sure he understands what his truck's going to be like when he does all those things.
And the thing I like is that he was out there with another truck, with another good truck like Elliott Sadler, because we hear so many times about these guys talking about when they get up behind somebody, getting that aero push. Well, he was behind Elliott Sadler, and I wonder if maybe that's why he went to the outside to say, okay, that's one way to prevent that aero push is to get away from him. So maybe that's what he was looking at. And then he made a nice run off of turn 4 and was able to get underneath Elliott and pass him.
Adam Alexander.
And Timothy Peters would no doubt like to forget the last couple of weeks, not good weekends at Kansas or Dover. How do you feel about the festivities this weekend here at Charlotte?
Our Strutmasters.com Toyota Tundra came off the trailer really strong. We tried to put the last 2 weeks behind us, but it builds character for our team. Jeff Hensley and the guys, they do an awesome job for me. Can't thank Tom DeLuch enough for giving me an opportunity. My truck looks the same as it did last year, so I'm happy about that. Got Crescent Tools on board and AutosByNelson.com, so I got a lot of good people helping me. Just hope we can turn our luck around.
Ray, they don't want to have another bogey. They've had a couple in a row, and right now things look pretty good for the 17.
Well, Adam, that team has had a couple of rough weeks, but how about a start to the day that didn't go very well for Brent Raymer? Number 85 truck hard into the wall, a lot of right front damage. Now, normally you would have your crew guys just run over to the hauler and start to pull out the backup, right? Well, here's the problem. Brent's backup wasn't really ready, so they didn't even load it into the trailer. Now, the shop's about 6 miles from here, so the team physically has to leave the racetrack and go back to the race shop to get their backup, and there's going to be some work to do. These guys are going to be very, very busy to try to qualify for tonight's race here in Charlotte.
But there's no fixing that ride there.
No, that's for sure. And there's 39 trucks here, so it's one of the trucks that's going to have to qualify his way in on time. So time is going to be of the essence for him.
Hey, Ray, I got a question. Did they find out what happened? Did that right front tire, did it blow out? Did they run something over? Do they know what happened?
Well, Rick, they felt like they ran over something. Brent obviously was in a big hurry to get things gathered up to run out of here, so he didn't spend much time. But I asked him, did they have a rub or any kind of a problem? He said no, he believes it was debris.
There you have it. Because again, we've got a limited amount of tires, and early on in a run, if you have a problem with a right front tire, that's going to raise a lot of people's eyebrows wondering what happened. On the racetrack, the 15 of Nelson Piquet Jr. behind that wheel of that truck this week. Saturday night, the stars come out and the gloves come off for the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race on Speed. With $1 million on the line, it's checkers or records. Don't miss the NASCAR Sprint All-Star Race Saturday night, 7 Eastern, only on Speed.
When the gloves come off, somebody's going to get mad.
Normally you put the gloves on to get after it. We are after the NC Education Lottery 200 practice from Charlotte Motor Speedway. We've seen about 19 laps is the most, well, around 20 laps, the most laps that have been run in this practice. 20 laps by Nelson Piquet Jr. and Kyle Busch has run 19. Today, qualifying at 3:30 for the trucks, and then 7:30, Chris Devoda gets us ready with the setup presented by Polaris. The green flag just after 8 o'clock in the NC Education Lottery 200. Ray Dunlap.
Johnny Sauter in the garage getting ready to go back to the racetrack. Only 10 laps so far for this number 13 truck, but this team has a pair of victories, and both of them have come in this very same truck right here. Sauter said he felt like it was dragging a little bit, so they cut off a tiny bit of the side skirt on the left side and raised the track bar for number 13. He's back out to see if it's better.
Can't you just imagine Ray down in the garage area doing all his reporting and investigating that he does, and going up to one of those teams and saying, when did you run this truck last? Well, we ran it at Kansas. No, you didn't. You ran this truck last at Atlanta. Oh, sorry, Ray.
Yeah,
Ray.
Maybe you're right. Maybe
I think Ray probably knows more about who's running what truck than the people that own them do.
Ray follows every chassis of every truck that makes it to a racetrack, just to keep track of where they've run before and how they've done.
Don't you love that? I mean, we need to know what's going on down there, and our guys in the pits are all over it.
And so the last mile-and-a-half racetrack that we were on.
I will tell Adam, though, rarely have I ever seen a tire rub in a wind tunnel. That generally doesn't happen. But, you know, talking about that 33 truck and exactly what has happened with that truck, we saw at Kansas, you know, the tire rub they had there. And you come back to Charlotte and you say, well, darn, why didn't they just fix that? The reason being is because they want that fender right there where they have it. They don't want to move it. That'll give up some aerodynamic side force or down force, and they don't want to move it. So they tweaked it as little as they possibly could, thinking that they had relieved or alleviated the problem, and then they put it on the track and run 180 miles an hour down into these corners. And as the body shifts, you go in the corner, you make a left, everything wants to shift to the right, and that fender gets over into that tire just a little bit. Probably a little bit more side load here at Charlotte than you had at Kansas, and that might be the only difference in why that thing's rubbing, even though they worked on it. Hey, Ray, this looks like a fast truck. Who is this? Number 17. What chassis is he running around in?
138. That would be Timothy's. That's actually Timothy's favorite truck.
Where did it run before, Ray?
Oh, they've run it twice already this season, Rick, believe it or not. Atlanta.
And did it go at Kansas?
Kansas, yes, sir.
So a 7th and a 23rd place finish for Timothy Peters in this very chassis.
Well, and Kansas wasn't really indicative of how they ran, obviously.
They had a shot to win that race at Kansas. Yeah. You know, it's funny, Ray, I was talking to Joe Shear Jr., asked him which truck he had. I was trying to get at, was this the same truck that he won at Kansas with? He said, hey, this is 23. I said, hey, you need to tell Ray if he knows what 23 means. Is this the truck you had at Kansas? He said, yes. I said, okay, good. I know what you're talking about now.
Adam Alexander.
Rick, Michael, and Phil very much aware as car owners that if you're going to be in that position, you have to pay attention to the details. Kyle Busch took over the ownership role this year, and he is no doubt about the details. Maybe not on the ownership side, but he does an outstanding job of explaining to his team what his race truck is doing. Now, most recently when he was on the track, he said, it's okay in, it's a little tight in the center and loose off, but there were many more details in between to explain exactly what this truck is doing. And it was very interesting to me, a driver that has won here twice and has so much experience at this track in NASCAR's Top 3 Series. last I checked, he had turned more laps than anyone else on the track. So Kyle Busch trying to get his truck dialed in. And by the way, this is a brand new chassis.
You know, Adam, I was wondering, Michael and I were kind of looking at each other, and I know we were involved in with owning some race teams, but Rick, what truck or car do you own now?
Adam, which one were you referring to? Was that the Toyota Highlander that my wife drives?
No,
or was that the first car that I bought back when I was 14?
I didn't mean Rick owned one.
Oh.
I meant Michael and Phil.
Oh, okay. All right.
I was actually celebrating because I thought if I was a part of a race team, I'd feel pretty good.
You get the bills now.
I don't want those.
Yes.
I also don't want the penalties.
Yeah.
I'll stay away from those. I actually, my very first car when I was 14 was a '66 Ford Mustang.
Nice. I like that Highlander your wife's rolling around in.
It's a nice vehicle as well.
Taxi cab was my first car.
And your dad helped you with that, I'm guessing. So a lot of the trucks in the garage making adjustments. Again, we've got qualifying at 3:30 this afternoon, but a good long practice this morning. Rick Wren, the Kyle Busch Motorsports team, walking around the garage as well. Welcome back. Camping World Truck Series practice for the NC Education Lottery 200 continues. It is NASCAR Day. You've got 3 options that you can take advantage of to make a donation here on NASCAR Day. The phone number 1-877-515-GIVE, or you can go online to NASCAR.com, and that's NASCAR Day. Or as Michael did earlier, you can text NASCAR Day to 90999 for a $10 donation. I'm actually going to do that right now.
It's so easy. I love being able to give like that. NASCAR Foundation does so many wonderful things, and we can all help them out. You know, you're probably laying in bed right now anyway if you're at home. So just grab your phone and text it.
Some people may be at work too, you know, but if they're watching us, they have to have a television, obviously. But what a week he had last week?
Unbelievable for
Talk
Ricky
about
Carmichael.
the emotional highs and lows for Ricky Carmichael.
And we talk about the highs and lows. The lows, he had problems in practice, got spun around. In qualifying, actually wrecked his truck, had to start at the back. He started 35th and made his way all the way up into the top 5 with a career best finish of 4th at a very difficult racetrack.
Very much so.
In a backup truck with an Aaron's Lucky Dog riding in the back. I mean, he got one of those along the way and made his way on the lead lap. And then when it came time to, as Brad Daugherty likes to say, when they opened that pay window, he was standing there in 4th spot.
You can see, look at his 6th in points for Ricky Carmichael. Really, in his 2nd season, did not quite run a full season last year, but top 15 finishes in his last 6 races. And as you mentioned, his career best last week at Dover. And we will learn more and follow his week a little bit more tonight in the setup with Chris Devote at 7:30.
We see Mike Skinner's truck in the garage, right?
You know, guys, you start talking about owning trucks, and how about the crew members on this team? I don't think enough guys down here get the credit they deserve. Mike Skinner left Dover, and they went over to Pocono Raceway for a test on Monday. About 4 laps into the run, they blew the right front, hit the wall, and destroyed a truck, you would think. But guess what? This is the very chassis sitting here that he wrecked at Pocono on Monday, and these crew guys have been hammered down from that point. They drove straight home from Pocono, got into the shop about 6:30 Monday night, and they got this thing through the paint booth and back on the chassis dyno by Thursday afternoon. An amazing process. They wanted to run this truck, and a lot of hard work got it back to the racetrack.
Ron Hornaday, one of the two-time winners here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway, including a victory 1 year ago, and you're currently at the top of the speed chart. Satisfied with how it's handling, Ron?
Yeah, I mean, we're hitting a splitter a little bit, but another brand new truck for KHI. That's just so unbelievable when you get in this thing, go out there and hold it wide open for the first time, and just knowing the guys put nuts and bolts together right. It's so much fun to drive over here at KHI, and I got to thank Longhorn, Georgia Boots, Tide, Ream, everybody. It takes a lot of people to do this, and it's just such a lot of fun to come down here and race. But the bad part is we're going to be, the second practice is going to be in the heat of the day, and then we race tonight. So we're just going to get the truck comfortable and balanced, and we'll be all right.
And to answer the question about how concerned the team is on that left rear fender, I asked Hornaday about it when I came over here, and he said they didn't even tell me about it. So obviously they must not be too concerned, or they're just protecting the driver, I guess.
Just keep it away from him.
The relaxed atmosphere there, that's when you know you got a good truck, when you can sit on the back of the your hauler and chat with the folks from Speed about how good things are. You know, Phil, what I wonder is every week KHI has a new truck. Where's all the old ones? I mean,
they're on the track, but some other teams
they sell them to some of their competitors. I mean, and not all Chevrolets. I mean, they'll change the nose and the tail or whatever. And I know Jason White has some trucks that they purchased from Kevin Harvick Incorporated.
Because I mean, that's every week they got new trucks, and shoot, there's got to be a lot of trucks sitting somewhere.
You know, and it's amazing. Ron Hornaday sitting on the back of the truck talking to Adam. Brand new truck. He's run 3 laps so far.
Yeah, and the second lap around the track, like he said, I got in my truck and run it wide open because I believe in my guys, and I know they bolted together right. He averaged over 180 miles an hour. Second lap around this track.
Bring it in this time. That's Cowboy Starlin, Kevin Starlin, that is crew chiefing on this 15 truck. Nelson Piquet Jr. is driving. Ray Dunlap.
Well, guys, you want to know where all those trucks go? A lot of them to the other side of the garage. I'm talking the other side of the stalls, and here's a good example. The number 48 that Hermie Sadler will drive this weekend. Chassis number 33 from KHI. Now, the truck that Ron Hornaday is driving today, as he said, was a brand new unit, and they are already up to chassis number 44, but 11 previous from that. Here's a brace truck that really, guys, is basically brand new. They've gone through this thing from head to toe, and Hermie has TNA Wrestling on the side of this number 48.
Jeff Hardy designed that truck right there, the paint scheme wrestler.
That thing right there scares me.
Whatever Jeff Hardy designed, I'd say that looks great.
It looks great.
What is that?
Big man. That looks like a face.
Yeah, behind the blue medieval mask, possibly.
It's getting darker. It's getting darker as we look at that.
I'm getting scared.
Can we go to break, Rick?
I think we should. We should. There's actually a few trucks on the racetrack still trying to get some information as to how their trucks are handling and pass that back along to their crew chief and crews to make more adjustments as we're continuing on with practice from Charlotte Motor Speedway. Tonight, the world's toughest trucks take center stage during All-Star Week. Sparks will fly, metal will be crushed, and tempers will boil over. Don't miss the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series live from Charlotte tonight, 7:30 Eastern, only on Speed. Let's go down to Adam Alexander. He's got the 3rd fastest truck on the racetrack.
That would be Elliott Sadler. You were in the top 5 throughout that practice session. How's it been handling?
It's running really good. His Signet TV car, the truck is running good. It's a fast truck. It's the one I think Harvick won with in Atlanta. And we used the first part of the practice to do a lot of race trim stuff because it's definitely going to get cooler tonight for night conditions. The track's getting pretty slick right now, so we're not really going off what the track's doing right at the moment. But I'm really proud of these guys. They brought in another great truck. Just need a little bit better luck than we had at Dover, and we should be fine.
I was going to ask you, how anxious are you to wheel this thing and have success, because luck has not been on your side?
It hasn't, but we've been good every time. We were really good at Daytona, and we were, I thought we were, Kyle definitely had the best truck at Dover, but we felt we were right there close to him in a good second-place truck. So for my first time being in a truck on an intermediate track, I was very happy with that, because these things are a lot different to drive than the Cup cars, but it gave me a lot of confidence to go to Dover and qualify like we did and race like we did. So stepped right in the truck this morning and was fast right off the truck. So chomping at the bit to get back to it tonight. I love this racetrack here at Charlotte. It's always been good to me. So I'm looking forward to the night race.
Thanks, Elliott.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Adam mentioned no luck. Well, that's really been the truck career for Elliott Sadler. He just hasn't had luck. His best ever finish in the trucks is 20th, and that was at Daytona when he had a better truck than 20th, but got caught up in different incidents that took place on the track.
Yeah, but he's only had 5 or 6 career starts, but he was very, very good at Dover. And again, Kyle Busch was in a class by himself, but of course Kyle didn't win the race. We documented the fact that he had ran out of fuel or whatever, had a pickup problem, whatever the case was at the end of the race. So had Elliott got to the end, he certainly would have been in position possibly to get that win.
You're talking about the end of the race and getting the win. That guy right there, 07, Donnie Leah, he's in the top 10 of the speeds here this morning, and he probably won one of the coolest races ever in the Camping World Truck Series with what he did up at Ohio that afternoon.
yeah.
3 wide on a 3/8 mile track for the checkered, and I didn't know if any 3 of them were going to make it back. And I talked to Donnie the other night. I saw him at a restaurant, our buddy Ron's Red Rocks restaurant in up at Lake Norman, and he was talking. We were talking about that race again, and he said, you know, when that all happened, I kind of felt bad about getting that aggressive to get the win, but he said, I feel pretty good about it now. I mean, right now, that might be the only win I get, you know, and I'm happy that it went down the way it did. But darn, he's up in the top 10 in speeds here, doing a great job at Charlotte.
Over time, people have a tendency maybe to forget the details a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. He was fun to talk to.
Mario Goslin in the TireMonkey.com, number 12, just behind that 07 of Donnie Leah.
Mario had a rough outing up at Dover. Got that thing spun around on the front straightaway, heading dead in the wrong direction. Was able to get it spun back around, but didn't run like we've seen him run all year long at Dover.
Still ended up with a top 20 finish there, but had a 9th place finish at Martinsville, which is his best this year. And remember at Talladega last year, what a great run Mario had. We were so proud of him there.
And so cool because he had his kids there dressed in the Tire Monkey outfits on Halloween. So.
You had mentioned Donnie Leah in 3 wide at Mansfield. Do you remember who was involved in the 3 wide?
That's one of them.
One of them was David Starr.
You remember who the other one was?
I do not.
Todd Bodine.
That's right, Todd Bodine. I remember it was David Starr that was on the outside because Donnie Leah decided, I'm coming in. Here I come.
There's room there, I'm sure of it.
I'm relatively sure of it. The Zachary Toyota there, David Starr. Ray, I think mentioned earlier, David's coming off back-to-back top 10 finishes.
His best finish of the year, 6th at Dover last week. 3rd's the best that he's done at this racetrack back in 2004. David Starr with 4 wins in his career. Todd Bodine has been so successful on mile-and-a-half racetracks. You see 10 of his wins have come on the mile-and-a-halfs, but he's never been to victory lane at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Yeah, and that Hornaday's knocking on the door. Now, Hornaday has 9. He's only 1 away from Todd, but you know when you come to a mile-and-a-half racetrack that Todd Bodine's going to be good. You know Ron Hornaday's going to be good. Kyle Busch is going to be good. I think Kyle may have 8 wins on mile-and-a-half racetracks, and Todd's won about 42 times at Texas, and we go there in just a couple weeks.
It seems like it.
There's the tail of the tape right there. You see the starts. A few more starts for Ron Hornaday, but just 1 less win. And look at the laps led, though. 1,600 laps led on mile-and-a-half racetracks for Hornaday, 800 for Todd.
Yeah, nearly twice as much Ron Hornaday. So you talk about dominators. Those are 2 of the best on mile-and-a-halves.
Todd has led the right ones percentage-wise over Ron. We talk about Todd being the king of the mile-and-a-half. Look at those laps led for Ron Hornaday. He's certainly strong everywhere we go, but these tracks especially.
Nelson Piquet Jr. back on the racetrack. Adam Alexander.
You mentioned Nelson Piquet Jr. You have to be impressed with what this youngster has been able to accomplish in a short period of time in stock style vehicles. He came to Daytona, was very impressive in ARCA competition there. A top 10 finish in his NASCAR debut running here in the Camping World Truck Series. He was also in the top 10 at another mile-and-a-half in the ARCA car at Texas, and he's been pretty good today, just going through his paces. I asked the crew chief, Kevin Starland, have you guys tested anywhere? He said, we're testing right now, and he's gaining ground quickly. Ray?
Well, we want to talk to Johnny Sauter, who has climbed out of his number 13 truck here. How do you describe practice so far today? Happy, ecstatic, incredible? What's the right word?
Well, you know, a driver's never happy, so no, pretty good. Our in-country television Chevy, pretty good. We start off a little tight, now we're a little loose, so we're just going to try and get back out there. One more adjustment here and see if we can't just snug it up a little bit. But all in all, I can run a very I can run the same speed every lap is what I'm trying to say. So very comfortable truck, and I feel good about it so far. So we'll just see what tonight brings.
Not a lot of tires for the weekend, Johnny. So how much more practice will we see out of you guys?
I mean, we're just trying to be cautious. You know what I mean? We got 13 or 15 laps on our tires right now, and if we get back out, we'll put a couple more on, and then we got another hour or whatever. So, you know, you try not to get over 30, 35 laps because then the balance starts to go away and you don't really know what you got. So just trying to be smart as we make our adjustments and so far so good. We've gone from one extreme to the other, so I feel pretty good where we're at.
Okay, Johnny Sauter in the number 13 team, guys.
You know, we talk about the limited number of tires. NASCAR will actually give a rookie an extra set of tires, so Nelson Piquet Jr. and people like him are able to run a little bit more because they have one extra set of tires that they will have to turn back in after practice is over.
NC Education Lottery 200 practice continues here on Speed. Stay with us. Welcome back. Riding actually with the number 10 of Jennifer Jo Cobb here at practice for the NC Education Lottery. It is NASCAR Day, and there are 3 options that you can go to give money to the NASCAR Foundation. You can call 1-877-515-GIVE. Go online to NASCAR.com, NASCAR Day, or you can text NASCAR Day to 90999 to donate $10.
And you know, Rick, we talk about NASCAR Day and the NASCAR Foundation. Martin Truex Jr.'s foundation had an event at Lake Norman this past week, Catwalk for a Cause, where a bunch of the NASCAR family modeled different outfits and raised money for his foundation.
Right.
Foundations help each other out. Martin might donate to the NASCAR Foundation or vice versa, and that's what's so great about this community. NASCAR Day is today, and we're raising a bunch of money for the NASCAR Foundation. But just this past Tuesday, Martin raised a bunch of money
at both corners after the apex
for his foundation, and he's building a whole new children's wing on a hospital up in his hometown in New Jersey. So wonderful things go on every day in this community, and it just makes you be proud to be a part of it.
Did you model?
Yeah, no, Macy did.
Macy
did, and it was so fun to see her up there on the catwalk. On the catwalk.
Brad Sweet on the racetrack, and we go back into the garage, and Adam Alexander.
Eric Almirola, one of the better trucks in this practice session, and no surprise, some of the momentum carrying over from that win last week. Have you settled down yet after getting that win?
Yeah, it's crazy, our sport. You only get to enjoy it for a short period of time, and then it's on to the next week. You can go from a hero to a zero real quick in our sport. So trying to focus here on Charlotte. We got a pretty good truck. I think we missed it a little bit here this first practice. So we tried a few things at the end of practice, and we got a direction to go. So we're changing quite a few things here for this second practice to try and get back up there.
How much can you learn in the second practice for tonight, based on the fact the weather conditions are going to be totally different?
The good thing is it's a little bit overcast, so that helps. It's a lot better than the sun beating on the racetrack, but you can get a direction at least. You know, grip's grip, and if you find more grip, it's going to be better even when the nighttime comes. So that's what we're looking for. We're looking for grip.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you.
Ray?
Let's hear from David Starr. Adam, see the truck's on scales over here, so what's your team working on?
We're working on a little balance here. Our Zachary Toyota Tundra was pretty good when we first got out there. We was hitting the racetrack pretty hard over there in 1 and 2, so we finally got that fixed, and everything felt good. And the next couple of laps, man, when we got to center of 3 and 4, we arced it in, and right when we got to the center, we just lost the nose, just tight from the center off of 4, just to the point where right when you get to the center, I mean, you have no front grip, so we're working on trying to correct that.
Here's the question, though, David. We work on practice here in the afternoon in bright sunshine, and we're going to race at night. So how hard do you have to try to get that balance so that it's good in the evening?
Ray, that's why they pay these crew chiefs big bucks, you know what I mean? Because obviously we'll be racing in the cool of the evening and at night. It's a little warm out here, so you don't really want to chase the racetrack too much, but it's so tight that I feel like we need to work on it a little bit. We don't need to go overboard, because tonight then we'll be loose from the center off. So there's a fine line right there, so we're just trying to make it a little bit better.
All right, we wish you good luck, and David Starr currently on the boards at 16th place, guys.
First practice, we saw the red and black flags flown. That means that concludes practice number 1. Ron Hornaday, the winner of practice number 1. He was the only driver to break the 30-second barrier. Timothy Peters, Elliott Sadler, Kyle Busch, and Matt Crafton round out our top 5. Now we'll hear from Steve Burns on the other side of the break.